Good afternoon, my YouTube viewers. It's Crystal here. This video is lesson 3 of the free course that I've created, Introduction to IT for Everyday Computer Users. And this is lesson 3 of the course. And lesson 3 is operating systems and everyday software. So a computer is comprised of the hardware does all the work and is comprised of the CPU, memory, and hard drive. The programs perform the task, being Word, Excel, Chrome, and games. The operating system tells the modules in the computer what to do, keeping things organized and making sure nothing crashes. And so in the last lesson, lesson 2, we talked about the hardware of the computer, that all the information, all of the devices that are attached to the computer and all of the components that are in the computer that make it run. The operating system works by the following processes. The computer is started up, the hardware is managed, the programs are run, the files are managed, and the user is interfaced. When the computer is started up, the operating system, that's OS, is loaded into RAM, that's random access memory, from the hard drive. The OS, that's operating system, takes control of the system and starts managing everything. And if you remember lesson 2, we were talking about RAM. That is your random access memory. And basically what happens when you turn on the computer, and all of the memory from the applications that you are using in the computer is transferred into the RAM, the random access memory, and the random access memory executes all of the commands that are run in the computer. The OS, that's operating system, acts as a translator between programs and hardware by the OS tells the CPU what tasks to run. The OS manages memory, RAM, so programs don't overwrite each other. The OS controls the input-output mechanisms such as the keyboard, mouse, screen, etc. And then if you watched the video on lesson 2, you'll learn that the CPU is the central processing unit, and the CPU is the brain of the computer, and it tells the computer what to do. When the user loads a program into the computer, the following actions occur. The OS loads the program into memory or RAM. The OS gives the program time on the CPU, that central processing unit. The OS handles multitasking and switches between applications smoothly. So that's what your OS does, and your OS is your operating system. The OS manages files and folders by deciding where data is stored in the drive, keeping track of file names and locations. The OS allows the computer to open, save, and delete files safely. The OS provides a user interface so the user can see the desktop icons and menus. The OS turns complex commands into simple clicks. The OS displays windows and handles user input. Common examples of operating systems are, so the device type is the computer, and the operating system on a computer can be Mac OS or Linux. So the operating system on my Windows, Mac OS or Linux. So the operating system on my computer is Windows. I have a Windows computer, and I also have a Chromebook. So there would be an operating system on my Chromebook, but I don't really want to have another Chromebook. And the reason why I don't want to have another Chromebook is because I have Microsoft Office on my computer, and Microsoft Office will pretty much only run on a Windows computer. Now you can use OneDrive on a Chromebook, and on OneDrive you get a scaled down version of Microsoft Office, but since I pay for Microsoft Office, I just want to stick with Windows because I know that I can install Microsoft Office on my Windows computer, but I cannot install it on my Chromebook. Another device type is a phone or a tablet, and its operating system is Android or iOS. So I have an Android phone because I cannot afford an iPhone. So I use the operating system of the Android. And then the next the next device type is your server. So you can use Linux or Windows Server. So this was a long time ago when I first decided that I was going to start studying again, which was around the 2020, which was when we had COVID. I had Chromebook. That was the first new computer that I had purchased in COVID, and I installed Linux on my Chromebook. And from what I've heard, you don't really have to install Linux on your Chromebook because Linux is already on your Chromebook, but there's a way that you do it. But now a lot of people want to use Linux, but I tried Linux. I had Linux on my Chromebook, and I even, tried to learn Linux. But me personally, from the perspective of a computer user, there's no point me personally learning Linux. Now, if you want to get really serious into IT, you can learn Linux, but as a computer user, I don't need it. And then also they have a Windows server. I will say Linux is a very old operating system, and I think it's related to the C programming language. So anybody who has studied, I think Linux was written in either written in C or written as a precursor to C. And C is another language that I studied about 35 years ago when I was initially studying programs, and so studying programming. And so C was a very interesting programming language to learn. And those are just some of the older programming languages which aren't used a lot today, but you never know, they may come back into fashion. So now we've got a diagram of your operating system and how the operating system works. So you've got your operating system that's part of the hardware. So your operating system is in the computer, it's part of the hardware. And so the operating system acts as an interface between the user and the computer. And the operating system acts as an interface between software. It controls the software. And the user is able to use the software and the devices through the operating system. Now, I just use a laptop, and I don't have any devices connected to my laptop. I've got lots of ports and everything on my laptop, but for the most part, the only port that I use is the power, which is what we talked to. And then so what the power does is the power takes the alternating current and it converts it to a direct current. So this is just a diagram of how your operating system works between the user, the software, and the hardware. An application is a program designed to help the user to perform a specific task. Each application runs on top of an operating system, giving it access to memory, screen, and keyboard. Examples of applications are word processors, which can be Word or Google Docs, web browsers, which can be Chrome, Edge, or Firefox. media players such as Spotify, and games such as Minecraft or Solitaire. And with regard to the web browsers, I didn't put it in this slide, but I tend to use AVG web browser, which is a free web browser, and it's supposed to provide some antivirus support to it. So that's the web browser I use personally. And I used to get AVG for free. It used to be a free antivirus software, but now you have to pay for AVG. So I don't use AVG antivirus anymore because you have to pay for it, because I tend to just use free antivirus programs. And the reason for that is because I'm on an extremely low income. Okay, so a system tool is software that helps to maintain or monitor or control how the computer works, keeping the computer healthy and organized. It is usually built into the operating system or installed on the computer. Examples of system tools are a file explorer, allows the user to browse and manage files. A task manager shows which programs are running and CPU usage. Disk cleanup removes unnecessary files. Control panel settings changes system preferences. Backup and restore protects the user data. Backup and restore tools protect the user's data. So we're going to have application and system tools work together by, so you've got the role is operating system. An example is Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. And the purpose is the manager that runs everything. And then you've got your system tools. An example is Task Manager, Disk Cleanup, and you keep the system running well. And applications are like Word, Chrome, and Paint that helps you perform everyday tasks. So now, how OS system tools and applications work together. So I've got a little diagram for you because a picture speaks 1,000 words. So you've got the user, that's the computer user. The user interacts with the operating system. The operating system that I have on my computer is Windows. And the operating system manages resources and provides interface and controls security. And then the operating system uses system tools such as File Explorer, Task Manager, Disk Cleanup, and the Control Panel. And the system's tools support applications such as a word processor, a web browser, a media player, and games. And then these applications communicate with hardware, which is your CPU, that's your central processing unit, your RAM, that's your random access memory, your storage is going to be a hard drive or a solid state drive, and your keyboard and screen. So that's how the operating system interacts with tools and applications. So a good electronic filing system matters because files can be found quickly when needed. It keeps the organization of the computer tidy to avoid clutter. It prevents data loss by saving and backing up properly. It helps the computer user to work more efficiently because he does not have to spend time looking for a file. The process of creating a good digital filing system is as follows. You create a file by assigning it a name and a type, such as myfile.xls, and XLS indicates that it's an Excel file. You organize the file into folders or directories. Each file is given a name and extension, so the operating system will know how to use it and open it. When the file is saved, it is stored on the storage drive, being either a hard drive or a solid-state drive. When the file is opened, the operating system finds it and loads it into RAM, that's random access memory, for quick access. Files can be moved, copied, or deleted. Files can be backed up onto an external drive or cloud storage, such as a OneDrive or a Google Drive. And I have a OneDrive account, and I also have a Google Drive account. So we got a screenshot of a typical filing system in OneDrive. So basically, this is a screenshot of my filing system on OneDrive. And so underneath documents, I've got a whole bunch of folders underneath documents. Call it charity stuff, charity website, custom office templates, digital products, Excel spreadsheets, family photos, financial stuff, Foster Wheeler, and I've got a lot more folders than that, but I just have limited space on my screen, so that's all you can see. So those are the folders, and inside the folders, I've got files. And we'll be going over that another time. Perhaps when we go over the chapter on cloud computing, I'll show you my OneDrive account, because my OneDrive account is cloud computing. So when installing software onto a computer, the user should download the software only from trusted sources, such as MS Store or Apple App Store. And I'm saying that one thing, I've got Windows, and one thing that you need to know about Windows is if you install any software that is not in Windows Store, then that invalidates your Windows Defender. So you need to be very careful about the software that you actually do install on your computer. Like, for example, like the R programming language is not in Microsoft Store, and so that means that you would have to download the R programming language from the R programming website. And then so because you've downloaded this R programming website, then it invalidates your Windows Defender. So you need, which I haven't downloaded it, by the way, so you need to be very careful about downloading software. You should only download software if it's from your Windows Microsoft Store or for your Apple App Store, because you need to make sure that the software that you download is trusted. And me personally, I don't like to download software. I prefer to use the software online if I can. So during installation, read each screen carefully before clicking onto it. Scan files using antivirus software or Windows Defender and delete if it looks suspicious. Avoid installing cracked or pirated software, because this is a common source of viruses. Make sure the computer meets the hardware and operating system requirements. Use administration rights wisely. Before installing major software, back up important files and restore the system if necessary. Update your operating system and antivirus regularly. So that concludes lesson 3 for operating systems and everyday software. And so this is going to be the end of this video, but I'm going to give you another video which I'm going to show you how to install and uninstall applications on my computer, or I'm going to take that process through to you on the next video. If you're not sure what to do, then you can watch my video and you'll have a little bit more insight into Microsoft Store, how to install apps and uninstall apps. So thank you for watching, and I will be communicating with you in the next video.